Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way, if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, stand out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous, did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments, get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.
Part 2 gang, y'all, let's get it, y'all. Part 2 gang, y'all, let's get it. Like, share, subscribe, y'all. Let's get it. Let's go. Man, that joke was crazy, man. Paul was looking like he lost his puppy. Paul was looking sad, man. Now he was in an empty cell. No TV, no Walkman, no nothing in there. That junk was butterball naked game. You hear me? That man ain't had nothing but steak sheets and steak shoes in that cell. That's all he had, man. So I felt this pain. I know he was sick that his roommate leaving. He had a good roommate. My homeboy was a good roommate. But he's gone, man. You know what I mean? So my homeboy left, man. I'll say like a week later. They said my homeboy ended up going to the hole, man. He bucked. They said he just bucked. He didn't want to stay over the chalk. You know what I mean? So my homeboy ended up bucking, man. They put him in the hole, and that's where he remained. He stayed in the hole. You know what I mean? I guess he was bucking so he can just get to another camp. That John probably heard a dude. He probably like, man, get me off this camp, man. You about to send me to a graveyard. Everybody I'm around got 1,000 years. I feel him on that, man. Like, I won't with that. So, bro, dip. When I would have checked in, no, I wouldn't have done that. But, bro, he couldn't take it, I guess. You know what I mean? So he ended up going to the hole. He was the first dude that we heard that kind of didn't like one building. You know what I mean? When they did that move. So, in the meantime, though, man, the dude, Paul, you know what I mean? At the moment, he don't have a roommate. He don't have a roommate at the moment. You know what I mean? So he's kind of just trying to mingle the best way he can. Like, you know, I was at a point in my life where I can't be his protector. I never looked at it like he needed protecting. He just was one of those dudes that came in that was kind of green. You know what I mean? So in the midst of just doing time, like, you're going to lose track of like, yo, bro, just learn how to do time. That's all you have to do. I'm not going to freaking walk you through this, bro. This is prison right here, bro. You know what I mean? You got to learn on a whim fast. So, like, he just started doing his bid the way he was doing his bid. And I really didn't keep up with it. I didn't watch him. I didn't make sure he was good because there wasn't nothing going on. If he could have been in any pod, 2B was the pod for him to be in because it was super ducked off. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they still had predators. But he wasn't gay and he wasn't with that type of action. So there wasn't nothing like that going on. You know what I mean? So he mingling, he doing him. He finally went to commissary. He enjoyed his commissary. You can tell that he was happy that he got his commissary. He was straight and he in the cell dolo. So I'll say like 3 days later, they finally moved the dude in his cell. Now the dude they moved in his cell was another dude that was about my age. I'll say he was like 25, 24 or something like that, man. But you know what I mean? He was part of the red team. You know what I mean? He was part of the red team. But I never was in the block with him to know that how he get down. You know what I mean? So I think bro was happy that somebody finally moved in his cell. They got a TV. So dude moved in his cell, he got a TV, you know what I mean? He see that the dude Paul go to commissary, he see all this is going on. So I was thinking it was the perfect marriage. You know what I mean? Now him being on the red team, it was only 2 other guys that was on the red team. One of them was older and one of them was probably like my age. So he only had 2 homies in the block. But upstairs, it was 1,000 of them. You hear me? It was 1,000 of them literally upstairs. So like he has his homies close by. So like everybody looked like they was winning. Everybody looked like they was doing good. Now Paul back watching TV, everything straight. Paul went from that to Paul used to just go out to the pod, and I think he learned how to play Pinochle. Now, Pinochle was a game that I never really learned how to play. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. Like, not because of no funny stuff. It was just, I feel like it's too many cards. Like, I don't know if y'all know about that game. I want to say it's 4 decks. 2 decks. I think it's 2 decks of cards. Either way, it's too many cards, y'all. So, boom. I never wanted to play that game, you know what I mean? But I used to watch dudes, sometimes dudes was like, yo, you play Pinochle, bro, you will be a beast of spades. I'm telling you, just make your spade game on 1,000 and you can count all these jumps. And I used to just look at a dude hand, he got all these cards. Basically, it never was for me. I never learned that game, man. Chess and Pinochle, those were the games I never learned, you know what I mean? Even though I moved like a chess player and I never played chess, and I don't know if that makes sense to y'all or not, but those were the games I never learned how to play. So Paul started going downstairs playing Pinochle with this old head. We're going to call him Cliff. Now, Cliff was a dude that had a job in the pod. Cliff didn't bother nobody, but Cliff been down already about 22 years already. Emmett Smith game. You know what I mean? He been down already a dub and change. So like, you know, he looked struck. He looked like a steak struck dude. You know what I mean? Bald head dude, had the freaking Steve Harvey mustache. You know what I mean? Kind of like always quiet and serious. They said he played with them hammers back in the day, played with them joints back in the day. Everybody says reputation was crazy from back in the day when he did time, when he was at Powhatan and all these other spots. So like, you know, his reputation precedes him. But at the end of the day, like, I still never had a reason to have a conversation with this man. I already knew he probably was a majority of shake, rattle, and roller, so I didn't even scan him. I knew the count. You know what I mean? Like, I just stayed out his way. He did him, clean up, play pinochle, play poker. He did his little thing. I stayed out his way. I never was in his path. You know what I mean? So me and him never crossed through paths ever. So when I looked up one day, I seen him and Paul playing one-on-one pinochle. You know what I mean? So I guess, you know, Paul was trying to learn how to play the joint. That's what I got from it. You know what I mean? So I ain't say nothing the first few times. You know what I mean? But once his roommate that came in the joint and I seen him going down there and play, I was like, yo, bro, I was like, we trying to beat old head of pinochle? He was like, yeah, man. He was like, he just teaching me how to pass time. That's all, man. Just trying to pass time, man. So that's what's up, man. He was like, yeah. He was like, for real, I know we about to go on this 2-week stretch, man. He was like, you think if my money come tomorrow, you think I'll be in time to be able to get my commissary? So I'm like, yeah, if you get it tomorrow. I said, we don't put our sheets in until Thursday, and it was Tuesday. I was like, yeah, if you get it tomorrow, I said, you good. You know what I mean? So he was like, all right, because that's when my money's on the way. He was like, I'm gonna order the max. He was like, I'm gonna order the max because, like, you know, I ain't trying to run out of food. He was like, my roommate ain't gonna go to the commissary, and you know, since he let me watch his TV, man, so I'm just gonna order for both of us like that. So I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, what's up with your roommate though? He was like, man, he's cool though. He's cool. Like, you know, like I don't know, like, you know, he's cool so far. Like, I don't, you know, nothing like that. You know what I mean? I was like, that's what's up. That's what's up. So I left it alone, went back in my cell. You know what I mean? So now it's time to put our bubble sheets in. So we put our commissary sheets in. Everything went smooth. When our commissary sheets get put in, everybody was happy because this was like the last commissary before that 2-week stretch I was telling y'all about. So you already know I'm definitely going to commissary. So Paul definitely going. It's a few, everybody going because this is the 2-week stretch commissary. So when the commissary finally came, they start passing it out, man. They start passing the joint out. Like when it's the 2-week stretch, before the 2-week stretch joint, like that joint be lit. It might take them longer because like it's got 88 people in the block. I'll say at least 85, 84 people ordering these stuff. It might be 4 people that don't get nothing. You know what I mean? But everybody else getting something. So it take a little minute. So they passed the joint out. You know what I mean? They passed the joint out. As soon as they passed the joint out, they let us out for rec. Say stand by for the outside morning rec game. So when they called stand by for the outside morning rec game, I looked up and I just seen 3 dudes coming up the steps like bad dudes. And that's how they had look coming up the steps because y'all know I'm in cell 34. So I gotta pass 33. When I passed 33, that junk looked like he was in there swimming with commissary. He was just, stuff was everywhere. He was putting stuff up. I walk by, I get closer to like the back of the steps and I look. I just seen the dudes coming up the steps. I'm like, they go right past him. I'm like, they went straight to grocery. They wanted to jump. They went to the red team dude. Said he was like, hey, look, man, what's up, man? You ain't homie no more, man. Yeah, you ain't homie no more. The dude was like, what? He's like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, you out, bro. Your big homie said you ain't official, so you out. So the dude, Paul roommate, he looking like, you know what I mean? He looking like he don't know what they talking about. He like, wait, you already know what time it is, man. Run that, man. He was like, man, this ain't my stuff. Paul was like, nah, this is my stuff. They was like, shut up. Man, they smacked the dog boo-boo out of Paul. That's my word. All you heard that joint was like, psh. And he was like, I look back, this is my word. I just seen dudes in there just walking the dogs with both of them. Boom, 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 boom. The 3 dudes, they were just punishing Paul and his roommate. So I'm looking, I'm like, they jump crazy. And I'm like, man, that's wild, man. I'm like, we about to go on lockdown. I'm definitely not going in there to save nobody, y'all. So boom. When I look like I have a cape on, no, I have a staying out the way shirt. I don't have a cape. Back then I had a Levi jean shirt, the bootleg version, just a whole blue jacket. Man, I'm not going there to save nobody, man. I'm sorry what y'all say. Weezy, you supposed to go. No, I shouldn't. I just got out of the hole, bro, from doing 90 days and change, my guy. Come on, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, man. I just heard the noise. You out. They are there pounding dudes. So I'm looking like, crazy, and I'm like, man, this junk wild. So now everybody downstairs, like, you know, our part is not used to hearing ruckus so crazy like that. Like if a fight break out, everybody gonna respond to it by looking and seeing what's going on because it ain't a lot going on in the block. I told y'all, there's a lot of old heads in that jank. So everybody kind of downstairs like, You know, we just went to concerts, so everybody moving around, paying dues at the hot water junk, getting coffee, microwave, dudes down there cooking food, cutting stuff up. So everybody walking around like, cause you know 34 up in the corner, everybody looking like, what's going on, man? What's going on out there? I'm just standing by the steps looking like they kind of asking me. I'm like, I don't know, bro. Like, we just see you here. What's going on? You green or something? So everybody looking. Next thing you know, I looked up. I seen the dude Clip coming up the steps like a maniac. Bad dudes gang. And they came up the steps like this. He started walking. He was like, he grabbed one of the dudes. He was like, started tussling with the young boy. He was like, he went in that jump. He overpowered the young boy. He was like, he went in that jump. That's why you heard. They in that jump knocking. This is my word. They in that jump rumbling super hard. So I don't know if his rumbling gave the dude that they kicked out the red team, which is Paul, roommate, some energy, but it became a fight in the jump. That's all you see was Paul coming out the jump. Oh, he bang, boom. He hit the ground. He was like, he backed up. I was like, Paul, watch out, man. Watch out. And them dudes was in that jump thumping. Man, they was in that jump thumping. That's my word. They was thumping. They was like, yo, they let it rack out. They let it rack out. That's all you see. One of the red team members come out. Then you see the other one come out. Then the other one come out. Next thing you know, you just see old head Cliff like come to the door. Old head Cliff come to the door. His shirt was ripped. He was like, he watched him go down the steps. He said, you all right, little Paul? Ain't nobody else want to help. I'm like, I know he ain't talking to me. He's still breathing hard. He like, dude that got up, that got violated, that's on the red team. He was like, man, they gonna try to do this every day, man. Yeah. Ain't y'all crazy? I ain't going for it. Dude, Cliff said, yeah, you better get your knife then. You better get your knife, man. That's what you better do, man. You better get your knife. You better get your knife, man. So I'm like, man, this y'all crazy. I'm like, man, old head Cliff went out there and put that work, man. He put that work in, man. I ain't even gonna lie. He had a lot of guts for doing that, y'all. Like, me not getting into that, why? I don't have to get into that. That's not my business. Cliff might have his own reason for getting into it. Y'all already know he a booty bandit, y'all. So boom. Right then and there. When he was standing there, looking all serious, asked the man, told him, hey, Lil Paul. He called him man, Lil Paul. I promise y'all. I ain't even want him to see me, y'all. I did a parentheal. Y'all know I said the word wrong. Parentheal. I did a parentheal scan. I was like, I was like, shh, crazy, man. He was like, you better get a knife. That's what you better do. He went back down the steps like this. He was like, he went down. Everybody was like, man, Cliff, man, what you getting in that for, Cliff, man? You ain't got nothing to do with that, Cliff, man. You tripping. He was like, nah, man, forget that, man. I'm sick of these young dudes coming over here starting stuff, man. Nah, it ain't happening, man. It ain't happening, man. You seen one old head get him look like, yeah, old head know the kind of old head like, and I already knew from that right there, it wasn't a good thing for Paul. Like, I don't know how it was going to turn out. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I didn't know how this was going to turn out, how the story going to go. But like, I seen it when he went downstairs. Some people looked at him like he was a hero. Some people asked him like, oh, what are you doing getting into that? A lot of people was just looking at him like, like I didn't know the count. So what do that mean to you, man? That equals, man, he trying to make a play like a predator, y'all. So boom. So that means he went in his box. He dusted off his predator mask. He put that joint on and he went upstairs like a freaking bandit. That's what he did, man. That's what he did, man. But he accomplished his mission. Now, the only thing I'm thinking about is, how's this jump going to end with the red team? This is what I'm thinking. So I go outside. I didn't go outside. My pod went outside. I didn't go outside. We had yard one. So I go to the joint and look out the window. So I'm looking out the window. This is my word. I'm looking at the ball field. Man, it was so many red team members out there having a meeting behind this situation. It had to be behind this situation. They was out there super duper deep. Man, they was out there super duper deep, man. That's my word. It was super duper deep out that jump. So they was out that jump, man. Somebody came in the jump, was like, yo, they called the dude, Paul roommate. They was like, yo, they told you to come to the fence. They said, tell the lady you gotta go somewhere. Come out, bro. Sneak out, bro, and come to the fence. So I'm still at the window. I hear them yell to the dude, because dude sleep right next door to me. So I'm looking at the jump. My word. He do it. He go out. They get him out. He come out. He go to the fence. I see him go to the fence. He go to the fence. One dude spit on him. He was like, one dude was like, yo, you better check in, bro. I'm telling you, you better check in. You ain't that old nigga. So they going back and forth about it. He like, And he's like, you better go to the hole. I'm telling you, if you don't go to the hole, bro, it's on, bro. We're gonna violate you every day, bro. He was just looking stupid. I'm looking at him from the window like, shh. It's really no wins in being a member on the team, y'all. So boom. They tell the man he gotta check in. They spit on him. They already banked him out the joint. What else do you want from this guy's soul? That's crazy, man. I promise you, this man, he walked down the way he don't supposed to be walking. The fence was locked and everything. Because I told y'all we'll take the Sussex 2 is one square. So we in 2 building, we'll go eat this way, but they'll let us come back this way. But they'll open that fence up right there, which is by 3 building. Man, I promise you, he walked to the fence closed. I can't really see him no more. So dude's like, look. So everybody went to the downstairs window and the upstairs window. So I came out my cell, the window right there for upstairs. So I can look now at that fence because I can see 3 building. I look, this man standing at the fence like, so the police looking like, what are you doing? So the police come around from 4 building. They come to the gate. What you doing? He say something. I can't hear what he say. You know what I mean? Police open the gate up. He go to the gate. And man go to 3 building. Check in the bin, y'all. So boom. That man went to the hole, man. I promise you, that man went to the hole. So now, jump was crazy. The police come back in that jump before they brought Rick back, packed him up. Paul standing there looking stupid. Paul got a scar on his face. Paul ain't even supposed to be in this fight. He just was an innocent bystander, man. You know what I mean? So as soon as Rec was over with, a couple of more dudes came in the jump. Another dude from where Cliff is from, a younger dude, but Cliff, you know, Cliff is from the city, you know what I mean? I don't know if he knew Cliff like that or what. All I know is he came in the jump to holler at Cliff before Rec was over with, before they locked down. So he came in our jump, he started talking to Cliff, you know what I mean? You just heard Cliff like, man, look, I ain't got no problem with them young rascals, man. But at the end of the day, man, they ain't coming in here doing that, man. They gonna leave little Paul alone. That's what they gonna do. So that's when the dude was like, yo, look, that's the thing though, man. They say they want him. They say he got to kick, bro. He got to kick that commissary, bro, because he got in blood business, man. He don't supposed to be getting in their business like, he don't supposed to be getting in our business like that. So the dude Cliff was like, nah, ain't nobody messing with him. Nah, ain't nobody messing with him. Nah, he with me. Nah, I ain't gonna let nobody mess with him. I ain't gonna let nobody mess with him. He was like, look, Paul. Hey, look, Paul. Come here, man. Paul came down the steps like, what's up, Cliff? He was like, hey, look, you gonna have to fight one of these dudes. The red team member was like, nah, we don't fight one-on-one. Nah, we don't fight one-on-one. Either he kicked that commissary or, you know what I mean? I'm trying to give him the easy way out. This word, Cliff was like, man, look, ain't no easy way out. If you rock with me, you rock with me, man. You get that beef squashed. If not, man, I'm going to get my knife. And it is what it is. I ain't fighting no more young boys after that. Straight up. I'm not fighting no more young boys. His mustache started getting thicker and thicker as he said, straight up, I'm not fighting no more young boys. I'm not fighting no more young boys. I bet you that. Yeah, I bet you that. Yeah. He started looking scary. It's about 15 red team members outside on the slider waiting for the other dude to come out. So the other dude was like, man, all right, man, look, how about this, man? Look, because he got it in the business, man, look, tell him, man, the dudes that came in there say they want $50 worth of stuff, man. He gave him $50 worth of stuff. You know what I mean? He in the clear, man. But something gonna happen to him. I ain't trying to clash with you. You know what I mean? Cliff was like, he grabbed that Steve Harvey, he was like, 50 sound cool. 50 sound cool. All right, we take care of that, man. Keep them out this block, though. That's all I'm saying. And do I gotta watch my back? I'm asking you personally, do I gotta watch my back? He was like, nah, Uncle, if I tell you have to watch your back, then they already be in here, huh? He was like, all right, because I'm holding you responsible, man, because you my brother. And if something happened to me, he was like, look, Uncle, you ain't gotta do that, man. I just told you straight, get the $50, and that's that. You know what I mean? He was like, all right, I'm gonna get it together. He was like, I'm gonna get it from you after lunch. He was like, all right, dude, deal. This word, Cliff turned around. He saw Paul. He was like, hey, look. He grabbed him like this. He was like, hey, look. Just go get $25. I'll put the other $25 up. So Paul was like, all right, you gonna pay the 50? Like that? You just gonna pay him the 50, right? Already he was on coward move, you know what I mean? But the man's scared. He don't supposed to be in here. So what can you say, man? I can't expect him to be a maniac. You know what I mean? He didn't even fight when they was in his room fighting. So this word, Paul shot up the steps. Paul get up the steps super fast. You know what I mean? You see goddamn Cliff going his cell. Cliff slept in cell 13. You know what I mean? So he was right there on the bottom tier next to the showers. So my word, Cliff went in his cell. Next thing you know, you see Paul coming downstairs with the stuff. You know what I mean? Paul coming downstairs with the stuff. I ain't even say nothing to Paul. So as Paul took the stuff down the cliff, that's when I went back up the steps, and I'm still standing by the bars, though. I'm still standing by the railing, you know what I mean? So as he come back up, I'm right there. So he about to walk to his cell. He walked back up. He was like, I said, you all right, man? He was like, shh. Yeah, for the most part, I'm good, man. I was like, that was crazy, man. I was like, so they charged me $50. He was like, man, just to get that beef squash, man. You know, Cliff paid half. I paid the other half, man. Forget it. I still keep my commissary. Like, you know, forget it, man. So I'm like, man, that junk crazy, man. So I'm like, shh. So what you owe Paul $25 now? He was about to walk away, and I shot that question out. He acted like he was about to get away before I could say that question. He was like, I said, so yo, what you owe Cliff now? He was like, I mean, I'm gonna pay him back, man. You know, he just did it out of kindness in his heart, so I really don't owe him nothing like that. I was like, man, all right, bro, just know, bro, ain't nothing for free in here, bro. You know what I mean? I'm just letting you know, just getting you the count. He was like, yeah, I know, man. He was like, but it's just, you know, like, shh. And Paul came and held it down, man. You know what I mean? Paul came, I was like, man, you right. You know what I mean? So I let it go. He walked in the cell. You know what I mean? Next day rolled around. I kind of slept through the whole morning. You know what I mean? Slept through the whole morning, man. I wake up right before they about to lock down at 10:30. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me get up, get me some ice. So I got up, went downstairs. I seen the sergeant was in the office. You know what I mean? I ain't paying no mind. He was in the office. I go get me some ice. You know what I mean? Go back up the steps. While I walk by, I seen Paul. I double take. I was like, Paul was in there getting his stuff right. Paul that y'all packing his stuff. So I'm like, what you about to move, Paul? You gone? He was like, yeah, I'm moving downstairs. I was like, you moving downstairs? He's like, yeah, I'm moving downstairs. I was like, for real, bro? He was like, yeah. I was like, that's what's up, bro. What cell you moving to? He was like, 13. I was like, you moving in the cell with Cliff? He was like, yeah, man. I was like, why you moving? I don't know why he even said this. Because I already know he probably went back and told Cliff that I said this, man. Because since this day, Cliff started looking at me with the maniac eyes. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, man. But I don't even know why I said it. I was like, why you moving down there? He was like, I mean, no, he's cool, man. You know, he ain't gonna let nothing happen to me, man. So, you know, like, I got a lot of time left to do, man. I don't need to be around people that's gonna let people get at me, Weezy, man. Like, you know, if bro was still here, then, you know, it wouldn't be like this, man. But, you know, I was like, bro, so, like, you scared that somebody gonna try to rob you again? That's what you thinking, bro? I said, because you know you was in the wrong place at the wrong time, bro. You know what I mean? He was like, yeah, but they're gonna try to extort me though, Weezy. I know they are, man. Like, you know, like, so, you know what I mean? Like, I just rather have the protection. I was like, what? He was like, man, I know, Weezy, man, but like, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. He grabbed his stuff. He was like, I ain't even gonna lie though, Weezy, man. Scary as this place is, looked at me, he was like, I'd rather have the protection anyway.
Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, stand out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous, did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments can pay for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.